Okay, so we're practicing passing the knot. Presumably you need to pass a knot because your rescue is beyond the length of your rope. The ropes we usually use first are 300 feet long, so maybe the rescue's beyond 300 feet. Once you see that coming, you need to be able to attach more length of rope to the back end. And you want to offset where the two knots are going to be. So you don't want both knots to be exactly 300 feet. Maybe you want one to be at like 280 and the other to be at like 295, so that you can pass the knots at different times through your system. So we've already attached the next rope onto this yellow line, and we've done it about 15 feet short of the end. We did it with a figure eight follow through, or figure eight on a bend that's protected by water bottles on both sides, and I'll show you how we did that here. So the blue rope, we're gonna extend right from the end, so it's significantly offset from where that knot is. We've preloaded a water bottle on here, then I tie figure eight, follow it through to make a bend. And then we'll take these two water bottles, make sure we get a good safety check on this knot, right? Because we're not gonna be able to see it again. So this is the opportunity to safety check it. We'll take these two water bottles and slide this tail as well through the mouth. Slide these up over the knot to provide protection from abrasion to the rope that's in the knot, because that's most likely to be exposed to kind of severe abrasion. And we tuck these two water bottles one inside the other. So it's providing protection for the knot from both directions. And then duct tape it shut. Cool. Maybe a little more tape even, just to get it all the way around. Okay, so we've done our two tension lower, and we're now at the point that we have these knots coming towards us. So Julian's operating the Maestros, and Mason's operating kind of the brake strands, and he's going to communicate with Julian and say, okay, we've got this knot coming on yellow, and so we're going to transfer all the load onto blue. So go ahead, and you're continuing the lower. So they're going to transfer all the load onto blue only by letting rope out on yellow without letting rope out on blue. So they're going to stop letting rope out on blue. They can let some rope out on yellow. And you guys could go a little further to bring the knot a little closer to the Maestro, and maybe without even creating that much slack, so you could let some more out on blue. Cool. And now you can go ahead and pass the knot. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna go to the rope behind the knot. You're gonna need more space, Julian, between your safety knot and the water bottle. Cool, so he's just putting some kind of bite. He's got a figure eight on a bite. He's gonna attach it to a carabiner, to the distribution plates, and this provides redundancy to this line that we're about to pass the knot. And so now he can remove the Maestro from the yellow rope and bring it to the other side of the knot on the black rope. Reload the Maestro back to the system. Cool. Then he can remove that safety knot that he put behind. Cool, so there was redundancy in the system the whole time. We created some slack on this yellow rope, but there was redundancy. And now they can go back to a two tension lower, and Mason's gonna keep an eye out for the next knot, which is now coming on the blue rope. So Mason and Julian are coordinating to transfer the load entirely to the black rope so that they can unload the blue rope. Cool. So they've got all the load on black, and they're gonna do this same move again. Safety knot behind. Unload the Maestro. Double check that it's loaded correctly. Reinstall and then remove the safety knot. Now we can go back to 2 tension lower. So we'll lower out just on black only until we get back to a 2 tension system. And then we can continue a 2 tension lower. And that's it. Now we've passed the knots on both lines. Okay, so these guys are doing a 2 tension raise on a system that went beyond the length of the ropes, and they had to tie knots and add rope on. Right now they're doing a 2 tension raise with a 3-to-1. We've got a knot coming at us here. So they'll raise as far as they can by just extending the prusik out like that. Julian and the haul team can keep raising, and Mason, you could throw that prusik on the other side of the knot, a second prusik. Cool, so this could even be done ahead of time. Incorporate both. In this case, you can do them as separate or you can do them as both. Cool. Now the load's all on the Maestros, so we can just open that carabiner and move it to this prusik that's beyond the knot and ditch the other prusik, and we'll continue the haul until this knot runs all the way up into Maestros. Cool. Continue the haul. All right, so this knot has come all the way up till it's bumped the Maestros. And what ends up happening is we're gonna transfer the load entirely onto the black rope. So you can keep hauling on just the black rope, and we'll slack this other one. Okay, once we've created enough slack that there's room to pass the knot, Julian's gonna tie that safety knot. You now have redundancy with that safety knot, and he can transfer the Maestro from the orange rope onto the blue rope on the other side of that knot. If there's not quite enough, that's okay. We can get the haul team to just pull on the black to create a little more slack. We still have redundancy.
A little more. Good.
Even while the Maestro was detached, we had redundancy here in the safety knot. Now that the Maestro is back correctly loaded, we can undo the safety knot and continue the haul. We will have to pass this knot through the mechanical advantage in a moment. And we have another knot on the yellow rope that we'll need to pass. Okay, so now we can pass the haul prusik beyond the order that you're going to do this. Passing that knot versus that knot doesn't really matter. It kind of depends on the length of your haul field. I think right now it makes sense to Okay, so they have added a prusik beyond this next knot, and then we can extend the MA as far as we can. We've also still got this other blue and orange rope connection working its way through the MA. Cool. Then you guys can continue the haul. And here comes this next knot pass. So we'll transfer the load entirely to the blue rope, orange and blue rope. Cool. Might need to create even more slack on the other one. Great. And then we can do that safety knot and pass the knot through this. Cool. So that we didn't have to pull that load manually, Mason, you could pull a little bit on that blue and orange rope to maintain the load over there. But we've passed the knot successfully and removed the safety knot. Okay, cool. Now we just need to work these knots through our mechanical advantage. So this knot is already bumping into the pulley on our mechanical advantage. So we can just open that side of the pulley. The prusik and pulley are not you'll need to scoot this prusik back to shrink the MA so that that knot's out of the way. And opening that prusik never created a problem because those maestros were already loaded back there. Great, cool. All right, and now we can continue the haul. And then we're gonna have one more here that we need to pass through that pulley. Cool. So we could, whether you choose to keep extending the mechanical advantage and do this later, or do it now with a shorter mechanical advantage, is up to you. So we could do it now if you want to. You'll just be stuck with a short MA throw for a little while.